when we found out we got the award, we called both. We called you first, and we called Lori. We were like, somebody has to pick up to know that we won. Like, oh my gosh. And it was on Kevin's birthday. So it was like awesome. Right before I retired from the Air Force, after 22 years.
And it shows that you don't have to have this background that people think. Like, I mean, GovCon winners, we have the amazing Anna. I'm so excited to have her here. She is the Director of Operations for Donnell Company and recently won in less than a year a 6-figure contract. 127,000, actually a little more than that. So I'm so excited to welcome Anna. Welcome you.
Thank you, Kizzy. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. So talk to us, because first and foremost, how did you get into government contracting? What do you sell? Tell us about this contract. Everybody's going to want to know.
Okay, so our CEO, Kevin Williams, he started everything. He kicked everything off, laid the foundation. He is an Army vet after 24 years, and he retired. And in doing so, he went into business for himself. Then he brought me on board, and maybe a year before, it was a year, because 2021 is whenever he started the business. Right before I retired from the Air Force, after 22 years, he asked if I wanted to go into business with him when I retired. And I was like, yeah, sure. It was uncharted territory, so I was a little bit nervous. And after I retired, we went into business and we started government contracting. It was the challenge for him that he wanted. And he said, if it's easy, everybody will be doing it. So that's one of the things that got us into government contracting.
And if I recall, you first started out selling products, which a lot of people think like, oh, I'm going to sell a ton of products and retire on that yacht or something. So
absolutely. He is very good with building relationships. So with him, talking that's his game. Not mine so much. I lack in that area, but with him, he can get in the door, and then the next thing you know, things start to happen. So yes, got a few 6-figure supplies with DOD and other agencies out there, and that's what started, I guess, the energy in order to get more and want more, and just the hunger for it.
Which is great, because it's what's needed. Because you can win a contract. I firmly believe it's easy to win a contract. It's the challenge is getting more and more work and figuring out what type of work. Because you all were selling, I mean, I feel like it was like not helicopter parts, but it was like some extreme parts. We're not.
Yes, and all of that, Kizzy. So styrofoam plates, and went from styrofoam plates and knives and packets in order to assist with some operations. And then it went to like a plane. And then it went to I know, it was like, I gotta find a plane. What? And then it went to a part for a ship. It was crazy. He's talking to all these people and they're like, okay, if you can find it. And his thing is, call us and we'll find the heart. Whatever you have it's nothing that we can't find. So yes, they call him, hey, we need a plane. Oh.
But this is amazing, and I hope people watching this are picking up this, because it's like because you didn't talk about his background in aviation, and that's the beauty of government contracting is as long as you can source it, you can win the opportunity.
Absolutely, and it's interesting you said that, because his background is IT and my background is criminal justice. So that's what we're working with right now.
That is wild. That is wild. I mean, and it shows that you don't have to have this background that people think. Like, I mean, it's helpful that you're both veterans, and thank you both for your service.
It's an honor to serve.
Aw. And it is, and you both are, the business is service disabled.
Yes.
OSB.
Yes.
And what have you found when it comes to that? Has it been helpful? Was the process easy as far as getting it?
So the process was a little, it had its bumps, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it would be in order to get the service veteran disabled and the many other credentials that we do have. It wasn't hard. And you know what? It might not have been hard because I didn't do it, but it took care of all that, all the foundation, laid the foundation for the entire company. And it's been easier for me to step in and just do the things that need to be done in order to get us across the finish line.
Which is great. I mean, you're director of operations. That's vital. And so how did you go from planes and parts for ships and plasticware to janitorial? How did you make that leap over to services? My favorite.
So early on in 2022 is whenever the goal was made to get a services contract. And we wanted to go into the VA system. I don't know if you remember this. He was huge on VA. He was like, I need a VA contract. I want a VA. This is when we met you. This was it. Oh. And I'm pretty sure you were looking at my face like, okay. Because I was nervous. But he wanted a VA contract. And most of the ones that we would see had something to do with janitorial work. And so that's where he felt as though that was our avenue. That was our foot in the door, is to get janitorial with the VA. Went to a few site visits, and there's a lot of red tape, as you would say. And there was a lot of work put into it. So with us not having that background, we took a step back and we were like, okay, let's find something a little bit smaller that we can manage a little bit better. And then we can work ourselves up to that, to where we have the clientele or the subcontractors in line in order to do those things. So yep, services were just added to the book in order to give another line of some type of credit onto our resume.
And I want to commend the two of you because we've been working together for a year. And what I want to point out is that you were okay with pivoting.
Yes.
Because often we come in and it's like, this is what we're going to sell, or this is what we sold before, so we want to do it again. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's amazing to sell planes and parts, or to want to sell IT, or even, going on these site visits. But then to just take it all in and say, hold up. I'm going to pause. We're going to put a little pause here in order to figure out what are some better fitting efforts to win, which is key, because that's going to lead to a long-term and more stable business than just going out and winning. And then it turns into, oh my gosh, Kizzy, we won, but how do I fund this $28 million contract? How do I have to pay $13,000 for mailboxes. And these are, real things that come up that people have recently DM'd me about. And there are a ton of financing companies, but it's also being aware of that so that you don't win and then the win becomes a burden. You want every win to be a blessing.
Absolutely. And pivot is my favorite word. I love to add it. It's anything like you said. I was like, oh, pivot. Yes, because we're in the military, especially for my job, I always had to adapt or pivot in the blink of a moment. So being able to do this was kind of a natural step for me, even though it was scary. It still is scary. It's still every day is a different journey. But I'm trying to overcome that fear, and that's where I feel like you helped out a lot, because it took me a long time in order to be able to talk to people and not feel as though I'm asking them to. Selling myself was hard for me. It was hard. And I was so unmotivated and sometimes unmotivated. And I got to a point where I was like, do I really want to do this? And you say it happens to everybody, and it happened to me, but something happened. I did my push-up, and next thing you know, I was in the door like, hey, how y'all doing?
Yes. I love that, because it's, first and foremost, you're always a pleasure to talk to, like from day one.
Thank
so
you.
It's like, you're so kind, you're so sweet. Like, so when it comes to connecting with an agency, I'm not worried. And if I'm ever worried, usually I would never coach that person. Because I'm not a community college. I'm Harvard over here. I don't take everybody. And so it's like, because what's vital is that client relations. And if the person comes off like clear Pepsi, then how are they going? Then the government's going to think of them the same way, and it's going to be hard unless they have somebody there, unless they have somebody else on their team who's the person that engages with the government, and then they're just a silent owner. I really haven't come across that except for more advanced companies, meaning that they've been in business for several years and they may have an owner that they run operations or they're doing finance, and then you have the other owner who's all about shaking hands, kissing babies, and all of that. So yeah, you're amazing at it, and I'm so glad that you stuck with it because you ended up with this janitorial win. So talk to us about janitorial, because I'm not a huge fan of janitorial, but I'm going to say this: you have helped change my mind, at least about it. I mean, I'm being serious. I was like anti me with the circle. No, janitorial. So talk to us about this win, because this is tremendous.
I remember bringing it to you because I knew this, and actually that meeting, you were like, hey, I heard y'all got some janitorial stuff. Let's talk about it. I was like, oh, here we go. So I'm pacing the floor as my camera's off and I'm pacing the floor. I'm like, okay, she about to hit me hard. And I'm gonna have to really think about what we're doing. So I found this one. We're in San Antonio right now. So I wanted to make sure that what I found was in the area so that I could actually see it, manage it, be in the area, those types of things. So found one that's close by and went to the site visit, and I printed out all my information. I had the floor plan, I had the numbers, I knew who all the contracting officers were on time, just being myself. And as I told you, I said, I looked at everybody in the face like I'm going to win this one. And walked in, we went over the site, we did everything, walked through all the rooms, talked about everything. I'm taking pictures. Other individuals that were there at the site visit were asking questions that I was answering. And the contracting officer was like, oh, you did your homework. So just trying to stand out in front of those individuals and spark a little bit of fear into them and to gain a little bit of trust with the contracting officer. It is a 5-year, and it is 1 day out of the week, and we usually go in on Sundays in order to do just floors. We do, it's about 24,000 square feet of floor work only. No restrooms, no any of that, just straight floor. Yeah, straight floor. So I thought it was perfect for us as a leader. Do you want me to go into how the whole contract went?
I mean, share whatever you're sharing. I just want to add what I love about this and what I want people to know when it comes to especially janitorial work or other work where it's once a week, it's once a month, it's once a quarter. You will need volume. It's just how it is. And so, because we're the same way, if you were to pay for cleaning services, like I pay for cleaning services, I get them twice a month. I'm not going to pay somebody $100,000 a year for cleaning. It's just, there's just no reason to do it. So I want people to realize that. So this is a huge blessing because it's setting them up to easily win a bunch of additional janitorial work. So please share more about it.
After the site visit, I called the contracting officer and I asked if their question and answer, like when did it end and if there were any opportunities for me to ask some questions about the contract. And after that, they were like, yes, you can go ahead and submit it. Submitted my questions, my key questions from GovCon winner.
Yes.
Who's the incumbent and what was the last bid? So asked those questions and they gave it up. It was maybe a day before the award, before the closeout. They gave up who the incumbent was. I saw who the incumbent was, got the numbers, and this is what we were on the meeting. Now, remember, you went in and you were like, whoa.
I went in hard. But thankfully, Lori Davis, director of getting things done, I feel like she was the saving grace because she was like, this is amazing. And I think you even talked to her too.
Yeah. So when we found out we got the award, we called both. I called you, we called you first, and we called Lori. We was like, somebody has to pick up to know that we won. Like, oh my gosh. And it was on Kevin's birthday. So it was like awesome. It was awesome. It just couldn't have come at a better time. And it was the end of my deadline, because I had a little deadline, like a goal. That was the last day that I needed to get something rolling. And
you manifested this too, let me say. During the site visit, she's like, I looked everybody in the eye. I want them to know I'm going to win. You know, you came prepared. You not only came prepared, but it came off with you answering the questions, with you having the documents there. All of these things, the government takes notice, just like us. How many times have we seen some repaired truck or van drive by and it looks crazy? Mm-hmm. And we think like, ooh, we don't want them to do anything in our house or in our yard. And so this is the equivalent to that. By showing up, being early, being prepared, because then she already stood out. And then to follow up with the questions is key, because then you knew what was going on. Because I remember during the coaching, you had mentioned like the building hadn't been cleaned since May. And, you know, so it was also showed like something was up, you know, like there's something going on. So they clearly want someone who is going to be competent and not, oh, I heard online I can win these contracts. I'm just going to win some janitorial work. And then they're back to square one and the building is still dirty. Nobody wants that.
Exactly. I was taking in every little bit of information that I could get. I was on intel. Like, okay, so it hasn't been done this, so maybe they'll be flexible in their pricing. It hasn't, they weren't satisfied with the work. So maybe if I show some initiative, that they know that I'm there for a reason and I'm there to do a good job.
Yeah. And that's why also, if possible, it's in your best interest to go to the site visit, if it's possible, because no one can sell the business like we can do so. And so you did so by you being there, because when it's outsourced, and again, you got to do what works best for you. I'm not asking anybody to get in debt to travel all over the country to go to site visits, but just keep in mind when you ask someone to represent you, that's why it's good to ask for 3. And you have to keep in mind, you don't know what you're going to get. I went to one site visit with somebody I was coaching, and it was for roofing. And what I found really interesting were the number of people who left the site visit early. And I thought, well, what if one of these companies was called by somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I went. And I'm like, you didn't even stay for the whole site visit. You came in, you went out. I'm like, there's like multiple roofs to look at. You had to go up ladders and stuff. I was like, this is intense. So what is next for you?
Next? So next I believe that we're going to go into a few more supplies and then dive into another services as soon as we have this one buckled down. Want to make sure this buckled down and we got the rhythm and everything's good to go with it. And I know it's the end of the fiscal year, so starting out the next year, get some supplies in and then look for those services that we can maintain.
And where do you normally search for the different supply opportunities?
All over for supplies. For supplies.
Unison or?
Oh, Unison. So Unison is not my friend, but we've had our ups and downs on Unison. If the opportunity is there, I'll do it. It just depends. But Sam.Gov is huge. And then we've been looking into some local areas from Dallas to here, in order to make sure that we're getting, I guess, the max for our time and effort.
And what would you say to people who were kind of like you a year ago, who maybe they served, or they maybe have sold a couple things and they're like, hey, I really want to go and expand in the government contracting space? What would you recommend that they look into doing?
I would say that it's worth it. It's worth your time. It's worth the effort. It is an adrenaline rush, and you are going to get so much out of it professionally and for just building your wealth as an entrepreneur. It's so worth it. I would not have done anything differently. And all of the things that I did go through, the ebbs and flows, I do feel like that they were for a reason. I've learned from my mistakes, And I've been able to capitalize on those things. And with the coaching that we've gotten from you all and all the resources that we get, I can always tap into it if I think it's something that's different or whatever. I can go in and I can look and I'm like, oh, we had a call on that, or we had something just jogging my memory a little bit, and I'm able to follow those guidelines in order to get where I need to be. Not saying that I'm a huge expert, but I feel like I have all the tools that I need in order to be successful.
And what you've done is you are executing. That's what's key. And you've won. The fact that you have a cage code and you won contracts before we met, but that you continue to win contracts, you have a valid cage code, and then you pivoted into services, that's huge. There are many, many people out there who, maybe they won something. I get messages all the time. Hey, I won an opportunity. I've bid on 50. I haven't won since then. Or, hey, I subcontracted. I didn't even realize it was a government contract. That's always the most intriguing. And they're like, now I want to do more of this. And there are tons of companies who rush to get a cage code, rush to get set asides, and then they rush to have no contracts. There is a process that applies. And so I commend you, because it's about learning and you put it into action. Because you didn't have to go to that site visit. You didn't have to come prepared. You could have just been on your phone. You could have been like, okay, whatever. But no, you didn't do that. And that's one of the main reasons that she won, because that personal interaction is so key if you can do it.
But I do want to say thank you for the tough love. I'll say the tough love. Remember when I couldn't find the scope of work or the
oh yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's mad at me. But it was in order for me to be able to find it and to see what the evaluation criteria is and if I could do it. And now if I look at solicitations, I find it quick. I'm on it. I'm good to go. And I really do appreciate that. Everything. Like, it was needed. That's what I need. Like, I need that extra little, especially, coming out, being retired and thinking, is this really worth it? And yeah, I needed that. And it helped out a lot. It was on both sides. Kevin was on this side and you were on this side. He's like, is that what she needs? Then that's what you give. I'm like,
love Kevin. He's awesome. Yeah, and it's a big piece because no one is going to do it for you. No, if somebody wants to pay 6 figures, okay, potentially. And there may even be people out there, hey, I can get you a contract. Okay. Interesting. So what's important is being able to know how to fish. And so that's why I really harp on finding the evaluation criteria, because it's in about 95% of all federal opportunities. They tell you how they're going to make the decision. And that's the best way to then decide, is it worth the work? Because if they would have made the decision based on, and they sometimes do this, where they'll ask for like a resume or the experience of the people who are providing the cleaning, and they'll ask for some interesting things. And for some, hey, I have no problem, I'll do that. For others, it may be, I don't want to do all of that. But you at least get to make the decision, because now you know that's of importance to them. Where you may have a similar cleaning contract for a different agency and they could care less. And all they care about is the money. How much are you going to charge them? But again, you have to know, because then that's how you make those smart business decisions. So I commend you on not giving up, because there were lots of people I would push back and then I haven't heard from them. But that's life, right? That's life. Like 20% usually go forward, whatever it is. It could be in sales, it could be in athletics, it could be in marriage, it could be And when I say go forward, I mean like implementing what they're being taught.
Right.
Whatever the topic is. So you're a rare group. You and Kevin, you both are. No, you're doing more than trying. You're crushing it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. So what is the best way for anyone out there, especially those that may be in Texas, San Antonio area, who would love to connect with you?
You can connect with me through my email. It's Anna.Ricks, Ricks, at Donnell, Donnell company, spelled out, .com. And I'm always available. I'm very responsive. Anything that comes in, I'm on top of it. So if anybody wants to connect with me, you can connect with me there.
Yes, Anna is super responsive. So just be prepared. And again, that speaks to why you won. And not only won, I just know this. I already know this. You will get more work from them. And in whatever path you decide to go in, you will excel in that. Because this is the most...
In the atmosphere. Put it in the atmosphere.
I am putting it out there. It's going to happen. I firmly believe in manifesting. I mean, it's not like I firmly believe that. It's like when we say, I'm going to get this, I will have that. I mean, there's no coincidence that this happened on Kevin's birthday and by your deadline. Because you put it out there. The people who don't have deadlines and they're like, oh, I'm just going to see how it is. Do we do that in our car? We don't just turn on our phones and we're like, wait, Waze, where are you taking me today? Like you have to have a destination. You have to have goals. You have to have targets. You got to put it out there. Because if not, then you're not going to get it. But you did. And that's why you're going to keep getting it. Because you're going to keep with the targets, you're going to keep with the goals, and you're going to keep winning. And you'll be back for part 2. Whoop, whoop. Yes. So anything else you want to add to all amazing GovCon winners out there?
Only thing that I would say is that you're going to, like I said before, you're going to be nervous. You're going to get some unmotivated times, and you're going to fear failure. No one that knows me, especially in the military, would ever say that I'm fearful of anything. But this, it had every day I did not want to face it because I feared the failure part of it. You're gonna get a lot of no's, but that yes is that thing. Yeah. The no's are okay, but it just prepares you for that yes. And when you get that yes, it is the best thing ever. You're going to be happy that you got some of those no's because some of them weren't even worth it. It was just practice.
I love that. They were definitely practice, and what is meant for you is meant for you. And so I love that. And I love your positive attitude. That's also why you're going to keep excelling. You know, you have that light of that positivity. So keep going out there, keep going to site visits, keep being the outward person, because you have nowhere to go but up, or up. Oh, well, thank you. I can't thank you enough. Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Thank you. You and your team. Awesome. Thank you for just allowing us an opportunity to be in front of you and to whoever and everybody that's watching, because everybody's watching. There's not a greater group of individuals that I would rather take this journey with than GovCon winners.
Oh, I love that. I'm just blown away. I just always remember the one call with Kevin, and he had this such a serious face and tone. Was like, how are you really going to be able to get us a contract? How are you going to differentiate? And I've never forgotten that, because I mean, first and foremost, I really felt that, because it does happen. Like I've paid people for stuff I don't know what I paid for. Mm-hmm. So I want to commend you two for taking that leap of faith with me, with my team, with GovCon winners, because, you know, I just, all I can say is I just wanted to give you our all. That's it. And to give you access to the team. That's the other vital part. She got access to Lori Davis, who's my director of getting things done. And she's the queen of client relations and operating everything. And so you don't just get this beauty with the curls, you get a whole team. So I can't thank you enough for taking advantage of the team.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
I'm going to tell her. I'm going to message her here.
Thank you so much for Lori. She is God's, and she's worth her weight in gold. Absolutely. She's what I aspire to be. I'm trying to get that title. I told her already. I was like, I'm trying to be the director of getting things done. Like, that's so dope.
And it's true, you know, and you will beyond get there, you know, and so it's important to have that piece. So I just wanted to recognize that I was never going to fail you. So I appreciate you. And with that, please make sure you like the video, hit the notification button, subscribe, go to profitablecontracts.co/free for a free capability template. And as always, everything is possible. So thank you, everyone.